Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. I think we're up to day 5 of food prep, which, geez, there's so many to go. But thanks for joining me again. We have a few different things today. We did sourdough pizza. I've tried to go more in depth because I've been asked a few things about our sourdough pizza, so I've tried to go more in depth with how we do it, so hopefully that will help for the people who were asking. I made some pear, ginger and lemon jam, which was really nice, if a little sweet. I did more of the oranges. I don't know what else. You'll have to watch and see. So thank you very much for watching again, and I will see you again tomorrow with more prep. I have so much prep to do. We get the community food hamper this weekend too. Tomorrow, I'm filming this on Friday, so we get it tomorrow. So I will share that probably my Sunday morning as well. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching. We made our normal breakfast again, but this time we added some new bits. So I went out last night and harvested anything that was left after the frost. So we had one frost and I'd forgotten about some stuff, so I went out to grab it, anything that was still okay, because we were expecting another frost, and we've had 3 in a row, so that was a good idea. So I got some baby tromboncinos, which are basically like zucchini, and some baby loofahs that weren't going to get any bigger, and thought that we would try them in our normal breakfast. So I sliced them up. I peeled the loofah. I'm not sure if you're supposed to, but I did because the skin seemed a little thick. I don't peel the tromboncinos, I just dice it all up. So I diced all that up with the normal. We had marinated chicken again, and then cauliflower and broccoli that we still had left, and all the same thing that I normally do. I diced it all up into pieces, and potato as well. I stick the potato on the cast iron, let it cook for a while, add the rest of the veggies, let it cook for a little while, push it all to the side, and then I add the chicken in there and get it cooked through, and then I mix it all around till it all cooks and is tasty, and then we serve it up. So the tromboncino tasted, as I said, just like zucchini. The baby ones were very much like zucchini. When they get a bit bigger, they're a lot more heavier feel to them. They're not as soft as zucchini, which is kind of nice. But when they're small like this, they're very much like zucchini. And the loofah is basically tasted a bit like zucchini as well, except that it was a lot soft. It was very squishy once it was cooked compared to the zucchini, which, because we try not to cook it too much because we don't like it too mushy. The loofah was mushy no matter what we did with it, so it worked really well in a dish like this. I don't know that I'd like it in just on its own or anything like that, but in a mixed veggie dish, stir fry type dish, then it added more nutrients, more volume, and it worked quite well. So we enjoyed that for breakfast today. I still had a whole bunch of pears left to process. The plain canned pears weren't a huge hit with the kids straight up, which is fine because I'll use them in crumbles and cakes and whatever else. I will have plenty of uses for them. But so I decided to do something different. I did a bit of a Google and found a recipe for a ginger lemon pear drizzle is what it called it. So it was supposed to be like a sauce, I think. So I peeled all the pears and diced them all up. I grabbed some ginger straight out of the garden because it's ready to be harvested at the moment anyway, peeled it with a spoon like you do, and then I had a single lemon that I'd managed to get in a mixed box when I did the shopping, so I cut that and zested that, cut it in half and juiced it, and I also used some of my frozen lemon juice and frozen zest from when I had a surplus of lemons previously, and then diced all the ginger up. You're supposed to grate it, but I couldn't find the grater, and it's going to be immersion blended in the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just want it small enough that there's enough surface area that it's going to add the flavour to what you're cooking. And then I added sugar. Now this was really high in sugar. It was 2.5 cups to this 4 pounds of pears, I think it was, and I shouldn't have thought about it at the time. I generally follow a recipe the first time I'm making something new, but I should have thought about it, and I should have done it. I should have looked up the Pomona's ratios for pears and done it with the calcium, pectin, and with the lower sugar. The thing is that I wasn't really actually intending to make a jam, so I didn't really think about it. But anyway, I had 2.5 cups of sugar, added that in, and then all went on the stove to cook down. I also wanted to get more of the oranges done after the success with the orange cake, so I did another double batch. So I ended up cooking 48 oranges and putting them all into jars. So I cooked 2 batches of them up and then did them all at the same time. So cut the ends off like normal, blitzed them in the Thermomix, and then put them all into jars. I don't remember exactly how many jars I ended up with, but it was a lot. But that is great. I think we calculated it was something like 26. So like if we make 2 cakes per fortnight, then we get orange and almond cake every fortnight for the year until oranges come back in season again. So that was pretty cool. I then had to blitz the pear jam, so I just used my immersion blender for the jam. So it's not supposed to be jam, it's supposed to be a drizzle. Maybe I cooked it a little too far and it jamified, I don't know. But it ended up very much like a jam, and it didn't end up very smooth. It tastes absolutely amazing. It's very sweet, but absolutely amazing. So I was glad I made it, but it only ended up with 4 half-pint jars out of all that, with all that sugar in it. So, you know, I think that if I get pears cheap again, I will make it again, but I'll make it using the Pomona's pear jam recipe, add some lemon and ginger to that, and do it that way, because it would be a lot less jam. I think I'd only need like a cup of sugar versus the 2.5 this recipe had. What else did I do? So the orange jars I had to run both canners for. I was going to double stack them, but the Fowler's jars make it difficult to double stack. They end up really high because of the clips and stuff, so I ended up just running both canners. I probably should have done a couple of batches in the steam canner. It would have saved me a lot of water, but anyway, hindsight and all that. So I filled all the jars and put them all in the canners. Both were pretty full, and ran them, and got to a rolling boil, 15 minutes of rolling boil like the other day, because that worked well. So all of those were processed. After that, I had to shape the boulet dough that I had proofed. So it took all day to proof. The weather has been really cold, so I poured it out and shaped it into a round by using all the standard methods that everyone uses, pulling all the edges up into the middle to create a ball, and then dragging it along the board or the mat or whatever you're using, dragging it towards you and picking it up and dragging it towards you and rotating it as you do it, which creates that nice skin over the surface area, which is what helps it to hold its shape when it's baking and rise within its own skin. So I did that. I put it in I use a metal colander. I've mentioned before that bannetons don't work very well out here. They go moldy. So I have some colanders lined with a tea towel, a bit of semolina to stop it from sticking, and then it goes in the fridge to be cooked tomorrow. Once that was in the fridge, I had to do the pizza dough. So the pizza dough that I make, I divide into 8. So I purposely have a recipe that works out to be 8 serves of about 300 grams. So I divide it into 8. I weigh it as I weigh everything. I know it seems a bit pedantic to some people, but I weigh everything because I just like to know exactly how much I've got and how much each serve is. So I split it into 8 even balls of approximately 300 grams, and then you roll them into balls much the same way as you would do a boulet. So you're going to pinch all the sides up, stretch them all into the middle, and then roll it over and do the same sort of dragging and twisting motion towards you to create that skin over the surface of the dough ball. And then I again use semolina. So I line the tray with semolina, and then I put the ball in where the semolina is, and then I sprinkle a little bit more semolina around it to stop it from sticking to itself. So they would normally go in the fridge. Like this would normally be doing it first thing in the morning, and they'd go in the fridge and I'd use them in the evening. But the problem with today was it was so cold that it took so long for the dough to double that it was only a few hours before I was going to serve dinner anyway. So I actually left them on the bench to just continue to do a little bit more of a rise once they'd been shaped, and it worked out quite well. They didn't go too slack. The weather was cold enough that they weren't going to overproof, so it worked out quite well for this situation. But yes, you have to read your dough in the weather. You can't guarantee that you can do it on timing. It has to be read a little bit so that you can watch the dough and use it appropriately. I topped all the pizzas as per usual. So I've said it before, I use 3 I make 3 at a time because that's what fits in my oven, and I make them rectangles because I can fit the rectangles in the oven nicely, and it's easier to cut. I am going to buy myself a wood pellet stove possibly for pizzas. We do have a wood stove that I can cook pizza in, that I have been trying to get new flues for and haven't been able to, and eventually we will go back to using that, but a nice little benchtop one in the meantime would be great. Kogan has one really cheap at the moment because of end of financial year sale, so I'm eyeing that one off and seeing if I can afford it before the end of June. I use the normal toppings, so I have run out of homemade pizza sauce, which is sad. I need to make some more of that, but I have jars of roasted tomatoes, so I just use roasted tomato on the base. It's because it's been roasted and canned, it's very sweet. Use that as the sauce. We used some chicken that was off the thighs that I had smoked yesterday, the leftover chicken off that, and some salami that I bought, some diced bacon. The kids really like corn, and I'm using the faux pineapple here, which is the zucchini canned as pineapple in this particular one. They don't really like it straight like they would normal pineapple, but they do enjoy it on pizza, which is great, and all the normal stuff. So no dairy for any of the kids' pizzas or Daryl's, and they go in and cook like that, and then they serve them with drizzled mayo, which I had pesto duck egg mayo for them to drizzle over it today. And then this one is my one with cheese because it looks the prettiest, so it's the one that I videoed to share. So it's just come out of the oven. The base turned out really well. I slice it up, and I also drizzle the pesto mayo over the top of it. I don't need to because I've got cheese, but hey, it tastes really good and I may as well. So thank you very much for joining me again today, and I will be back in the next day or so with some more cooking for you. I have so much prep to get through. I have been having to do so much admin work in the mornings that the prep work is just dragging out into evenings, and also getting the videos out. It's a bit hectic at the moment, but I will see you again. Thank you.